Hi, my name's Chris. I'm the Rustic Caveman. I'm going to try one of these little driving and talking videos and see how well it comes out. Really need to trim those branches. At the marks in the driveway, there's somebody that seems to sit at the bottom of the driveway, and either they use it to turn around or something. Anyway, they seem to be there quite often. Well, it's currently in the mid-50s. We are driving on Eagle Road. Coming up on Willie Thomas, bottom of the hill. Don't really have an agenda to talk about. I swing really wide there because the kids have, when they spin their tires, come around that corner, they've rutted that little area up pretty good. I shouldn't complain. I did it when I was a kid, but it's annoying. I'm finding the older I get, the more annoyed I get. Anyway, this in front of us used to be a nice little piece of forested land. Somebody's come in and logged it and got all the good logs out of it. I hope they're going to come back and do some cleanup and pick up all the mess, because there's a lot of mess in there. They came back and did the firewood on that, and actually quite a bit of firewood in there. We're on 325, heading toward Rio Grande. Since quite a few of you have no idea about this area, I will tell you that Rio Grande is spelled Rio Grande, but here we call it Rio Grande. I'll probably do a little quick tour of Rio Grande. I went to that college for a few classes. Didn't really find it to my liking, but it was close to home and it was cheap. Welcome everybody. My name is Chris. I am the Rustic Caveman. We're going to do a little bit of a road tour here. Bert Church did one about a week back. It was a lot of fun. I do have another channel. It's called the Rustic Caveman in the driver's seat, where I do a lot of these little road trips on time lapse. So throw some music on it, you get to see it in time lapse speed, and it's like it's like being on a roller coaster in a chair. So anyway, this is gonna be a little different than that. I am on my way to Jordan's Gas. I've got to fill up 3 20-pound propane tanks, and wave at the cop, and check on Dad's. He dropped off a igniter system. See if they can get it fixed. Now we're coming into Rio Grande proper. This is the doctor's office. I really need to stop there and get my blood drawn and get my drugs refilled, but I haven't been there yet. This is quite a bit different than when I was a kid. The dead tree up here, which was their Christmas tree last year, it used to be a house, burned down. Now up to the, I guess it's on the left and the right, but primarily on the left is Rio Grande University. Been around here for a really long time. Started off as a Baptist teaching college. Okay, we're going to drop into what's called Lake Drive. Anyway, got this church on the right, Rio Grande Elementary on the left. How much of it you can see? There it is. We're going to drift down the hill and go to the reservoir. This used to be a really good spot for you know, like picnics and things like that. When we were really young, it was a lot nicer, and it's been a lot worse. So the village of Rio Grande is doing quite a bit. Wow, the little lake reservoir here is down 4 or 5 feet. What that's all about. You can see right over there, a little stump sticking out of the water. That used to be completely submerged. You can see the grass line and the mud line, and you can tell where the water was. I will tell you that that spot used to be a really good spot for fishing bluegill. Straighten the camera back up. I need to go up here and come around. Along through here, if you look along the edge of the road that goes along the backside, the dam, you should be able to see where the water line was. That culvert used to be completely underwater. Now, I'm guessing that little spillway on the other side used to clog it up pretty bad. So I'm suspecting that they've dug all that out and allowed the water to come out of there. There's still some depth to this pond. It's probably 20 feet in the middle. Still probably full of bluegill. There is a rumor that they put trout in there. It's not exactly a cold water habitat, so I don't know how well trout stays, but there's supposed to be trout in there. Up in the far distance is a shelter house. That was always a nice little spot. It didn't get built until I was a little bit older, probably in my teens. I believe that there was a shelter house on the other side of the reservoir here. That is gone. Because I believe when I was really young, I remember sitting there at either a 4-H function, Boy Scout function. My sisters were in Girl Scouts, so I got drug along to that. Anyway, we're sitting there at functions, and then Dad drove their brand new Ford Fairmont, baby blue, to pick up Mom. That car, by the way, was a dud. Constant repairs. But that was back in the early 70s, late 70s, mid 70s, somewhere in there. So we're going to go ahead and continue our lap around the college. The building in front of us used to be an auditorium. They did all kinds of plays and things there, and did a great job. I mean, the plays were always very enjoyable. This old church has been here for a millennia, feels like. Actually, it may have been. This church has been here for a long time. Wood Hall used to be the science part of the school. I think it's now technology. Davis University, there was actually a house there. A preacher lived there. Luther Tracy, if I remember correctly. Yep. What's in front of us is Line Center. Line Center is the athletic part of the school. Nothing impressive. The Davis Career Center, that's where I took an introductory welding course, introductory robotics course, working on RS-232 interfaces, serial interfaces. Don't think that stuff even exists. Behind us is a bunch of housing. The building with all the windows, as we're passing here on the left, is the library, and then the other big building over here is another housing. I'd hope for better. Where these houses are, used to be my playground. We are coming up on the old Rod Grand Elementary. This was the playground. This is where I played. The truck where this little Jeep was sitting was a tree. Big old roots. We'd play underneath that tree like crazy. This building in the back didn't exist. Over here on the far right, the woods. But this is the elementary school. This is the add-ons that happened while I was going to school here. So that puts the add-ons somewhere in the neighborhood of about 40 years old. On the right used to be another part of the playground. When I turn around here, I'm going to take the GoPro off of the mount, and then I'm going to show you the school. That is the school. That was my elementary school. That is a very old building. And at the very top, it says Raccoon Township High School. That tells you how old it was. Anyway, it was one of those cool old buildings. There used to be a couple of houses on the right here. They've been ripped down. Barn's new. This white house in front of us is, there used to be 3 houses there, I think, maybe 2 houses, and it is part of the revitalization project. That in front of us is my wife. She's probably trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Anyway, we're going to follow her a little bit. These white houses are all part of the revitalization project, which I think was, somebody had an idea where they wanted to improve the area, improve Rio Grande, and they went about it by just putting in some houses, replacing a couple of businesses. I don't really think they did much in the way of improving. Actually, I apparently know the guy. He's probably he was from or near my graduating class in high school. Wait for these cars to get by. Anyway, we're coming up on the gas station where Dad gets his coffee. It's a very must for every occasion. In fact, if he could figure out some way to get out of there today to do recycling, which is where the wife was coming from, he would. I mean, he'll take a very small bag and come in and get his coffee. Coming down the hill here, we are looking at what used to be Bob Evans Farms, as in the Bob Evans restaurants that you find all over the place. Those restaurants, the business has been sold a number of times. There's nothing left of the original Bob Evans except for the color and the pictures on the wall. But this was the original farm. This is where Bob Evans started all this mess. This windmill was brought over back in the early 70s, I believe, as a project, and since this right-hand section of the farm has been deeded off to the college, I assume that it will eventually crumble and fall. If you're getting the impression that I don't have a great opinion of Rio Grande University, you're correct. I think they've gone in the manner of increasing the school. They have done a terrible disservice to the village of Rio Grande, and there's nothing left of the original Rio Grande that I knew and loved as a young kid. Coming around the corner here, coming up pretty soon on the left, there's a big old red barn. When I was young, it was the Redmond. It was a bar. Top half was the apartment to the guy who owned it, and the middle is the bar itself, and then there was a basement. And that is where we did a lot of drinking. It's also close to the bar to the university, so therefore that's where all the kids went and did a lot of drinking. Kind of looks like the wife is sitting there. Yep, that would be the wife. Yes, dear. Well, wife needed an oil change. So she needed the card that I was getting ready to use in here. I will tell you that a 20-pound tank of propane to be filled is $14. 40-pound tank is $28. 100-pound tank is a $70 refill. We have a 100-pound tank on the back of our cabin, and I will probably need to bring it in here in about 3 weeks. I had 3 20-pounders that needed filled up, and those are the ones that goes to the warehouse, the cabin, my office. Let's see, I don't know which way, where they're filling at today. Get a little bit of a treat today. I'm gonna turn the truck off. Filling them all in here now? Pretty well. Okay, I'll pull up here once he gets done. I just got 320s. You've been filling a lot today. This is cold. You've been filling a lot today. This is cold. And hopefully I got that recorded. Process of filling the tanks. We're going to take the long way around. I'll take 850 back. Make it a nice little fun tour. This road that I'm currently on, a good old friend of mine used to live there. We used to live down it quite a ways back. Anyway, his dad was kind of a mentor to me, and I miss him a lot. He died about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. Actually closer to 5, because he died just before I started the store, because I was really wanting to show him the store. Anyway, we're back on 35. We're heading toward Rodney, old 35. It's now called 588. 588 used to be this little teeny little jag road that came between here and Gallipolis, and they just extended it to Rio Grande and called the whole thing 588. In fact, you can see where it cuts off up there in the far distance. We'll go past it here in a minute. To my right, up the hill, is a stone yard. It used to be a stone yard. Dad worked there when he was in college, Rio Grande. Driving bulldozer and stuff. 588 up here goes to the right. The road that we are on now is called Spring Valley, in reference to the little bit of a town that's just before you get to Gallipolis up here. We're going to turn off up here on the next road, take a right, or take a left rather. On the right is the produce auction, Amish produce auction. Sometimes you can get pretty good deals, sometimes not. The gas station up here is called Bottomers. Bottomers used to be open all night. They used to have IBC root beer, which was absolutely fantastic, and for an underage kid, it was the best place to get some root beer. Anyway, this is 850, otherwise known as Rodney Pike. We're going to take this up and over the hill, hither and dale, and whatever else you want to say. It's anyway, it dumps me out directly into Bidwell. Greenlee Farms, which was on our right, they do a lot of grass-fed beef, organically raised chickens, that kind of stuff. Most of these houses didn't used to exist until about 20 years ago, maybe less. I'll tell you what, this is a fun little road to drive down in a nice, long, late 70s car. Big engine, big hood, big speed. Come down this road at 60, 65 mile an hour, and you're just flying over these hills, catching air about every other hill. Some of these hills drop off a little faster than others. Now, Bob Evans had several sons. One of them was Steve Evans. He picked up the sausage business from his old man. And so we just passed the Steve Evans Sausage Distribution Center. It's a tiny little building that has no markings on it. I know Steve Evans personally. He's a pretty good guy. Does a lot for the community. He actually used to be one of the boys in Dad's Boy Scout troop. Now this winery up here is called Mary Family Winery. It's actually really good wine. It used to be the Bob Evans sausage plant before Bob Evans got sold out. Now it's a winery. And the Mary family is the family that Dad stayed with when he was in college, working at the strip mine or the gravel pit. These buildings here used to be cow fields. Obviously things have changed. Alright, I'm going to take a left. This left will put me on 554. If you take this 554 to its end, you'll be back in Rod Rand. So we've kind of done a bit of a triangle. Where the cars are parked is the actual post office. I think I've been in there twice my entire life. It's a small one, but they cover a big area. Now, where is that sign at? Oh, there it is. You can hit pause so you can read it. Okay, let's go around the other side. Again, hit pause so you can read it. I could take you on the back roads there, but there'd be a whole lot of driving and not a whole lot of talking. Coming up on our right used to be the actual railroad depot. Nothing left of that now. There's a building there. I know that there used to be beehives stored there. Right now it looks to be log storage. It used to be where we used to go pick up our coal. We've got a couple of dogs running around up here. Appear to be puppies, maybe a little bit older. I believe they belong to that white double wide right there. Anyway, this is Woods Mill. Many years ago, this little pole building, it's full of firewood now. It used to have a couple of steam engines in there, and every once in a while they'd be out playing with them and you'd see them moving. Always a fascinating thing to see. Again, this is one of those roads that used to be about half as wide as it is now. I would tell you that you do not want to get close to the edges here because the edges have a tendency to chip off. And most of the time when they're up against a ditch, it's soft, which will suck you in. Another cool little feature that you find in hill country is we're going to go underneath this pond over here, or be below it. The pond also appears to be about 5 feet. Yeah, 4 feet maybe. Lower than it should be. We had it dry, but I don't think it was that dry. Our pond's probably 3 feet lower than it's supposed to be. This trailer that is on the left, that is disintegrating completely, my dad is pretty certain was the trailer that I grew up in my first 3 or 4 years. Because he had the same exact model, and then when him and Mom swapped out for the new house, got rid of the trailer. That trailer, a trailer that looks so much like it, suddenly appeared in that spot. So he believes that whoever owned that bought it off the dealer that he sold it to, because it was within a couple of weeks, from what I understand. Anyway, coming up the hill. coming up on our left, or right rather, is a little teeny tiny brick building. They put that thing in back when I was probably 13, 14 years old. And I will tell you that I bought an awful lot of Bartles and James wine coolers from them from the time that I was about 16 on. So yes, very underage. But I managed to get by with it quite often. Way up on my right, no use showing it to you because it's all behind trees, is a cave I used to play in all the time. On my left here is Raccoon Creek. Pretty good little stretch of it. When I get to the bridge, I'll pop the camera off the mount, show you each side. On the right of me is where we used to swim. I'll show you the left first. And the right, a little harder to see through all the trees and stuff through the window. Okay, I'll put you back on. Anyway, this is still Willie Thomas. Not Willie Thomas. Woods Mill. That house used to be an impressive house. Unfortunately, it's meeting the end of time. About every other time you come around this little stretch here, on the right hand side you're going to see either a flock of turkey or a handful of deer. At the moment I'm not seeing anybody. Well, there's a couple deer way over there. That's some crow. There used to be a high bank right here. Township came along and knocked it all down, smoothed it all out, so it looks a lot better. We are in Tycoon Lake watershed at the moment. Yes, I'm crossing both sides of the lane. I'm going to top out over this hill and maybe a view of Tycoon Lake. You have a good view of it. Back of my truck's still on the road, so we're not going to see it for very long. Looks like you got some folks across the lake there getting ready to do a boat launch. I see headlights on a truck. Okay, let's get on out of here. Actually, why don't we go ahead and loop on around and take a look at the boat launch. They've done a lot of work with that thing recently. A couple years ago, I guess maybe 3 years ago, they had a lot of heavy rain and the backside of one of the dams started to slip, and they were worried about the dam breaking loose. And so they drew the water down in the lake about 5 feet. And it was incredible to see all the stumps and things that are up there. I think if you go back in my channel, I've got some video on it. If not, if you don't find it, put it in the comments of this video and I'll take the pictures that I have and I'll turn that into a video. And each side is a swamp. There's be a lot of migratory birds in here. A lot of Canadian geese. Used to consider all of this my stomping grounds as a kid. We would roam over all of this. currently about 2 miles away from the house, the farm. Let's go ahead and hit another spot first, then we'll come back to this one. If you're still watching, leave a note down in the comments and tell me what you liked about this, what you didn't like about this. I like doing this kind of stuff. I just don't think anybody wants to sit and listen to me ramble on. Anyway, this is the dike that was bad. They've done a lot of work. What you see in the gravel, this little dip right here, is the new passive spillway. So when the lake gets so high, it will go out the spillway. Now, if you're watching this on a TV, you might be able to see the pickup truck across the lake there. That pickup truck is sitting on where we used to do a lot of our fishing. But it's a little old style boat launch gravel. Well, more mud than gravel, but anyway. But if you look straight across the lake, there is a little divot in the woods there. That is the beginning of what I used to call the Ridge Trail. And basically, from where that pickup is, you take a hard right and you go straight up the hill. And you follow that ridge all the way down and around to where we were parked the first time. There's a couple swamps in the way that you got to go around, but that ridge trail will take you up and around that. For the most part, there's a beaver dam that you got to cross. At least it was there 35, 40 years ago. And I would be certain that it's probably still there. It was a big, big beaver dam. All right, let's turn around. Go to the boat launch. I'll show you where actually the trail ends. The boat launch. Gotta pay attention to my gas. Since the wife took the card, I don't have it to get gas on. So, and I'm not planning on going into town right now anyway. As soon as we get back, we got a 50-pound bag of chicken feed I need to put on my shoulder and carry it down to the chickens. Carried the other one down a couple days ago. Guess it's time to take care of this one. Alright, welcome to Tycoon Lake. I know I've got video on this somewhere. Actually, if I can find it, I've got a video that I did where I walked down the that High Ridge Trail. And it was a pretty fun little video. Say it's only about maybe a half, 3/4 of a mile there and back. All right, this is the boat launch. This is all new stuff. And where that swamp is right there is where the trail ends. Comes down, and then back in there is the sorry, I got caught my eye. Looks like somebody's taking a bass boat out there, and they have actually busted the ice between the boat launch and open water. Good for them. That took some work. Anyway, back a little swamp over there is a beaver dam to cross over, get over to the other side of the lake. We have slot limits for this particular pond. I believe that the bass have to be 14 inches or greater. It might be 16, I don't remember exactly. But it's supposed to be a good bass lake. I've seen a lot of bass in it, but I don't think I would necessarily call them hogs or real keepers. There's a lot of smaller ones. But it's fun to watch them swim by your kayak. If I was given the choice, I would go with yellow perch. And I always love a big old mess of crappie and bluegill. Some parts of the world, crappie are called specks. And I think they're called black crappie or something. Anyway, they're delicious. And they're usually one of the first ones to really start hitting in the spring. I don't really even know the name of this road. It's been changed a few times. I don't remember what it is. Doesn't matter. I will tell you that in certain parts of the year, the sun sets over top of the swamp. So if you're sitting over there by the boat launch, you get to watch an awesome sunset. That would typically be in the late fall. Now, because of that icy patch of weather we had, there's an awful lot of cinders on the road. That's what this black stuff is. These are actually coal cinders. So we have a coal-fired electrical plant down on the river, and the byproduct of burning all that coal cinders, and we use those cinders for traction in the winter. All right, this dude's starting to really piss me off. We use it for traction in the winter. Does a great job. It's very coarse. Stables on the right. He used to be the guy that took care of all the horses for Bob Evans Farms. He's got a nice little spot. The orange on the tree right here on the left, that is all part of the wildlife area. It's open for hunting, recreation. Mini campground at the bottom of the hill here on the left. I'm on Eagle Road now, by the way. This is where the farm is. So anyway, I think at this point that will conclude the tour. Hop up over this hill. How to conclude the tour. My name's Chris. I am the Rustic Caveman. Tell me if you enjoyed it. Tell me if you didn't. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful day.